The great council hall on Nexus Prime was huge. Its walls reached high into the sky, made of crystal that glowed with soft blue light. 12 different alien races sat around a massive table shaped like a star. Each race had their own section, with fancy chairs and glowing screens showing their home worlds. At the center of the table sat 2 humans. They looked very small compared to the aliens around them. Ambassador Hyun-Woo Kim wore a simple black suit. Next to him sat So-Young Park, dressed in a dark blue military uniform. Both humans sat quietly, their hands folded on the table. The Vorthak leader stood up first. His name was High Regent Thexara, and he was twice as tall as any human. His skin was gray like stone, and his eyes glowed red. When he spoke, his voice was deep and scary. "Humans," Thexara said, "you have caused enough trouble. Your ships attack our trade routes. Your colonies take our planets. Your people refuse to follow galactic law. This ends today." The other alien leaders nodded. The crystalline beings made tinkling sounds that meant they agreed. Their bodies were made of living crystal that sparkled in the light. The Hive Collective's speaker buzzed loudly, which was their way of saying yes. Hyun-Woo listened without moving. His face showed no feeling at all. So-Young wrote notes on a small tablet, but she never looked worried. A tall, thin alien from the ethereal dominion spoke next. "We have been patient with your kind," it said in a voice like wind through leaves. "But patience has limits. You must choose now." Thexara walked around the table as he talked. "Here are your options, humans. First, you can accept our protection. We will govern your worlds. We will control your military. We will decide where you can go in space. In return, we will keep you safe from other dangers." The crystalline leader made more tinkling sounds. A voice came from speakers around the room, translating their words. "You're faster than light travel. Technology is dangerous. You move through space too quickly. This threatens the natural order. You must give us these ships." The Hive speaker buzzed again. "Your expansion must stop. You take worlds that belong to the collective good of the galaxy. Return to your birth system. Stay there." More aliens spoke up. The Molten Core Republic wanted humans to share all their mining technology. The Gas Giant Federation demanded that humans stop building space stations. The Ancient Ones insisted that humans were too young to have opinions about galactic matters. Each demand was worse than the last. The aliens wanted humans to become like pets. They wanted to control everything humans did everywhere they went, everything they built. Hyun-Woo finally stood up. The room became quiet. He was not tall like the aliens, but something about him made them all pay attention. "You have spoken for 3 hours," Hyun-Woo said in a calm voice. "You have told us what you want. You have told us what you think we should do. Now I will tell you what we think." So-Young stopped writing and looked up at the aliens. She smiled, but it was not a friendly smile. "We have listened to your demands," Hyun-Woo continued. "We have considered your offer of protection. We have thought about your rules and your laws and your ideas about how the galaxy should work." The aliens leaned forward. They expected the humans to beg. They expected fear. They expected the humans to ask for better terms. "Our answer is no," Hyun-Woo said. The room exploded with noise. Aliens shouted in their own languages. The crystalline beings made sounds like breaking glass. The Hive Collective buzzed so loudly that the speakers crackled. Thexara slammed his fist on the table. The sound was like thunder. "You refuse our generous offer?" You would rather face war than accept our protection? Hyunwoo began putting his papers into a briefcase. We did not come here to start a war. We came here hoping for peace, but we will not trade our freedom for your protection. So Young stood, up too. She closed her tablet and put it in her pocket. You call this generous, she said. You want us to give up our homes, our ships, our right to explore space. You want us to live in a cage. That is not generous. That is slavery. The Ancient One spoke. Its voice was like rocks grinding together. You are young. You do not understand the dangers of the galaxy. We have survived for millions of years. We know what is best. Maybe, Hyunwoo said as he picked up his briefcase. But we would rather make our own mistakes than live under your rules. The humans walked toward the exit. The aliens could not believe what they were seeing. No one had ever refused the Galactic Confederation before. No one had ever just walked away from peace talks. Wait! Thexara shouted. If you leave now, there will be war. We have 10,000 ships. We have weapons that can destroy stars. Your tiny fleet cannot stand against us. Hyunwoo stopped at the door. He turned back to look at the aliens. Then I guess we will find out how good your 10,000 ships really are. So Young opened the door. Before she walked out, she spoke to a reporter who was standing nearby. The reporter was from a news service that broadcast across the galaxy. Tell them we will be waiting at Seoul, So Young said. If they want to continue this conversation, they know where to find us. The two humans walked out of the council hall. Behind them, the aliens continued shouting and arguing. Some wanted to send the fleet immediately. Others worried that they were making a mistake. A few wondered if the humans knew something that the aliens did not. Outside the building, Hyunwoo and So Young got into a small shuttle. As they flew back to their ship, So Young asked, Do you think they will really come? Hyunwoo looked out the window at the stars. They have to. They cannot let other races think they are weak. They will come to Seoul with everything they have. And then? Hyunwoo smiled for the first time that day. Then they will learn why humans survived on the most dangerous planet in the galaxy. The shuttle docked with a human ship that waited in orbit. Within an hour, the ship jumped to faster-than-light travel and disappeared. The aliens were left behind, planning for a war they thought would be easy to win. They had no idea how wrong they were. High Regent Thexara stood before the Vorthak War Council on his home world. The room was carved from black stone, lit by red flames that never went out. Around the circular table sat the greatest military minds of the Vorthak Empire. They had conquered 40 star systems in the last 1,000 years. War was what they did best. The humans have made their choice, Thexara announced. They choose war over wisdom. They will learn what happens when children play with fire. General Korthax, the oldest warrior in the room, laughed. His voice sounded like rocks falling down a mountain. How many ships do the humans have? 50? Maybe 100? We have 10,000. This will not be a war. This will be target practice. The War Council looked at reports about human military strength. The humans had 37 colonies spread across 12 star systems. Their ships were small compared to alien vessels. Most human weapons used primitive nuclear technology. The aliens had been using energy weapons for thousands of years. Their tactics are simple too, said Admiral Vexthor. They fight straight forward, no tricks, no clever strategies. They point their ships at the enemy and shoot until someone dies. On the water world of Aquatica, the crystalline hegemony held their own meeting. The crystal beings did not speak with voices. Instead, they shared thoughts through light patterns that danced across their bodies. Their leader, bright singer of truth, pulsed with confidence. The crystals had studied human technology by capturing some of their ships. Human computers were basic. Their shields were weak. Their hulls were made of simple metal instead of living crystal that could repair itself. One crystalline ship could probably destroy 10 human vessels. The Hive Collective gathered on their world covered in massive insect cities. The Queen Mind spoke for all of them, her thoughts flowing through millions of connected beings. Humans breed slowly, the Queen Mind decided. They make few ships. They have no backup colonies hidden in secret places. When we destroy their main fleet, they will have nothing left. The other alien races agreed. The ethereal Dominion believed humans were too emotional to fight well in space battles. The Molten Core Republic thought human ships would melt when faced with plasma weapons. The Ancient Ones remembered destroying other young races who had refused to accept galactic law. But while the aliens planned their easy victory, something very different was happening in the Sol system. Earth looked peaceful from space. Blue oceans, white clouds, green and brown continents. The aliens who had visited Earth for trade talks saw a normal planet with normal cities. They saw farms and forests, mountains and deserts. Nothing special, nothing threatening. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, Admiral Jun-Ho Lee walked through corridors that stretched for miles underground. These secret tunnels connected massive construction bays that had been built over 50 years. The project was so secret that most humans did not know it existed. In the first bay, Admiral Lee saw the truth about human military power. Ships as big as cities floated in artificial seas. These vessels were nothing like the small ships that aliens had seen. They were covered in armor thicker than building walls. Weapons that could destroy moons pointed in every direction. How many are? Ready? Admiral Lee asked Captain Dong-Hyun Park, who commanded the underwater facility. 12 battleships, 30 cruisers, and 60 destroyers, Captain Park replied. The new quantum drives are installed and tested. The weapon systems are online. We can launch them all within 6 hours. Admiral Lee nodded. The aliens thought humans had 50 ships total. They had no idea that hundreds more waited in secret bases under the oceans, buried in mountains and hidden in asteroid belts. On the surface, President Da-Yun Choi met with her advisors in a bunker deep beneath the capital city. The room was plain and simple, with concrete walls and basic furniture. But the people in that room controlled the most dangerous military force the galaxy had ever seen. "Are we really going to do this?" asked General Taemin Ko. "We could still try to negotiate, maybe offer them something less than what they want." Dr. Woo-Jin Nam, head of alien research, shook his head. "They will never accept anything less than total surrender. We studied their history. Every time they meet a new race, they do the same thing. Demand submission. If the race refuses, they attack. If the race surrenders, they become slaves." "Then we fight," President Choi said. "But we fight smart. What do we know about their weaknesses?" Dr. Nam opened a thick file. "The Vorthak ships use energy shields that become unstable when hit with certain sound waves. The crystalline vessels cannot handle strong magnetic fields. The Hive ships have biological parts that die if exposed to specific chemicals. And their biggest weakness? Pride," Dr. Nam said. "They think they know everything. They think they are better than everyone else. They will not expect us to be stronger than we look." In another part of the bunker, Captain Minseo Jung prepared for the most important test flight of her life. She walked toward a ship that existed nowhere in official records. The Indomitable looked like a normal human cruiser from the outside. Inside, it held technology that broke the rules of physics. "The quantum displacement drive is ready," reported engineer Kyung-Ho Lim. "We can appear anywhere in space instantly. The aliens will never see us coming." Captain Jung climbed aboard her ship. "How many jumps can we make?" "As many as needed. The drive draws power directly from space itself. We will never run out." The Indomitable lifted off from a hidden launch bay in the Sahara Desert. To anyone watching, it looked like a normal test flight. But Captain Jung was testing humanity's secret weapon. She made her ship disappear from one place and appear in another, thousands of miles away, in less than a second. Meanwhile, on the moon, Colonel Seung-Won Lee oversaw the final preparations at Luna Base. The aliens thought it was a research station where humans studied rocks and grew plants. They were partly right. Humans did study things there. They studied how to build the biggest weapon ever created. "The particle beam is ready," reported Dr. Mi-Young Kim, the base's chief scientist. "We can cut through any alien ship like it was, made of paper." "What about the moon itself?" Colonel Lee asked. "The support structure is complete. When we fire the main weapon, the moon will not break apart. The recoil will push us slightly out of orbit, but we can fix that later." Colonel Lee looked at the control room displays. They showed hundreds of weapon systems hidden across the moon's surface. The aliens would approach expecting to fight a few dozen human ships. Instead, they would face an entire weaponized planet and its satellite. Back on Earth, maintenance crews worked around the clock to prepare systems the aliens had never imagined. Every space elevator could become a massive railgun. Every orbital station could launch missiles. Every asteroid mining operation could fire rocks at incredible speed. The secret was simple. Humans had never built anything for just one purpose. Every tool was also a weapon. Every building was also a fortress. Every peaceful project was also preparation for war. Admiral Lee returned to his command center beneath the ocean. On his screens, he could see reports from across human space. The colonies were ready. The secret fleets were moving into position. The weapons that had been hidden for decades were coming online. His communication officer, Lieutenant Haijin An, handed him a message. "Sir, our scouts report the alien fleet is assembling. They have ships from all 12 races. The count is over 3,000 vessels." Admiral Lee smiled. "Good. When they arrive, they will see exactly what they expect to see. A small number of human ships trying to defend Earth. They will think victory is certain. And then? Then they will learn why we spent 50 years preparing for this day. The aliens were coming with overwhelming force, confident in their easy victory. They had no idea that every human installation, every human ship, every human world was a trap waiting to spring. The alien fleet arrived at the edge of the Sol system like a wall of death. 3,000 ships stretched across space in perfect formation. The massive vessels blocked out the stars behind them. Each ship was the size of a city, covered in weapons that could burn entire planets. Admiral Krathmar stood on the bridge of the Vorthak flagship Eternal Dominion. The ship was 2 miles long and half a mile wide. Its hull was black metal that absorbed light like a hungry mouth. Hundreds of weapon ports lined its sides, each one capable of destroying a human cruiser with a single shot. "Report," Admiral Krathmar ordered his sensor officer. "We have entered human space, sir. No resistance so far. We are detecting their planets and colonies as expected. Mars has mining operations. Jupiter has gas collection stations. Everything matches our intelligence reports. Krathmar looked at the tactical display. Human space looked exactly like what the aliens expected to see. A young race with basic technology spread thin across their solar system. Perfect targets. What about their fleet? We count 47 human ships total. Sir, most are small patrol vessels. They have maybe 6 or 7 large ships that could be called warships. They are positioning themselves near Earth. The alien admiral laughed. 47 ships against 3,000. It was not even a fair fight. Send the standard surrender. Demand. The communication went out on all frequencies. Admiral Krathmar's voice boomed across space. This is Admiral Krathmar of the Galactic Confederation Fleet. You are surrounded and outnumbered. Surrender immediately or face total destruction. You have 10 minutes to respond. The humans took exactly 9 minutes to answer. The response came from Admiral Junho Lee aboard a ship called Soul's Thunder. The human vessel was only 1/10 the size of the Eternal Dominion. This is Admiral Lee of the Human Defense Force, came the calm reply. You have entered our space without permission. This is your final warning. Leave our system immediately or face the consequences. Every alien bridge erupted in laughter. Final warning? The humans were giving them a final warning? It was like a mouse threatening a lion. High Regent Thexara spoke from his command ship. Humans, look at your screens. Count our ships. We have 3,000. You have less than 50. Do you really think you can fight us? Numbers are not everything, Admiral Lee replied. But if you want to learn that lesson the hard way, please continue. The alien fleet began moving forward. They kept perfect formation, like they were in a parade instead of a battle. They had done this many times before with other young races. Show overwhelming force. Watch the enemy panic. Accept surrender. Add another slave species to the Confederation. But something felt wrong to Admiral Krathmar. The humans were not panicking. Their ships were not running away. Instead, they were moving into attack positions like they actually planned to fight. Sir, his sensor officer called out, I am detecting something strange in the asteroid belt. What? Kind of strange? Energy readings, like weapons charging. But there should not be any weapons there. Just mining equipment. Admiral Krathmar frowned. Send a scouting group to investigate. 3 cruisers should be enough. The 3 Vorthak ships moved toward the asteroid belt. They were huge vessels, each one carrying 1,000 crew members. Their sensors swept the area looking for signs of human weapons. They found them. The first asteroid mine exploded like a sun being born, but it was not a normal explosion. Space itself seemed to tear apart, creating a hole in reality. The 3 Vorthak ships simply vanished. No wreckage, no debris, they just stopped existing. What was that? Admiral Krathmar shouted. His science officer was staring at his instruments in shock. Sir, that was not a normal bomb. The energy readings are impossible. It was like they tore a hole in space itself. More explosions began happening throughout the asteroid belt. Every mining station the aliens had ignored was revealing its true purpose. They were not mining rocks. They were mining space itself, turning empty vacuum into weapons. The alien formation began to break apart as ships tried to avoid the quantum bombs. But breaking formation was exactly what the humans wanted. Captain Min Seo Jung sat in the command chair of the Indomitable, watching her screens with satisfaction. All ships, she announced, begin quantum displacement protocol. Show them what real space combat looks like. Around the solar system, 50 human ships suddenly vanished from their positions. The aliens expected them to run away. Instead, they appeared inside the alien formation. The Indomitable materialized directly beneath the crystalline hegemony's command ship, Harmony of Ages. The crystal vessel was beautiful, made of living crystal that sparkled with internal light. It was also completely unprepared for an enemy ship to appear inside its shield perimeter. Captain Jung gave one order: fire. The Indomitable unleashed an electromagnetic pulse designed specifically to disrupt crystal matrix structures. The Harmony of Ages lit up like a firework as its crystalline hull began to shatter. The living crystals screamed in frequencies that hurt to hear before the entire ship broke apart into glittering dust. All across the alien fleet, human ships were appearing, in impossible places. They materialized above alien vessels, below them, inside their formations, behind their lines. The aliens had prepared for a traditional space battle with ships facing each other across empty space. They had not prepared for enemies who could be anywhere at any time. Captain Subin Kang commanded the Busan Defender, a ship that looked like a simple transport vessel. When it appeared next to the Hive Collective's bioship Living Swarm, the aliens barely noticed it. The transport looked harmless. It was not harmless. The Busan Defender opened its cargo bay and released a cloud of microscopic machines. The machines looked like dust, but they had been designed by Dr. Wu Jin Nam specifically to attack biological ship components. The hive ship's organic hull began to dissolve like acid was eating it from the outside. The living swarm tried to retreat, but its bioengines were already damaged. The ship began convulsing like a dying animal before it finally broke apart, spilling thousands of hive drones into space. Admiral Krathmar watched his perfect formation fall apart in minutes. Ships were disappearing, exploding, or simply falling apart. The humans were using weapons he had never seen before, tactics he could not understand. "How are they doing this?" he demanded. "Sir, their ships are teleporting. They appear anywhere they want, attack, then disappear again. Our weapons cannot target them fast enough. And these quantum bombs? They seem to turn matter into energy, by destroying the space it occupies. I have never seen anything like it." Worse news kept coming. The Ancient Ones reported that their ship's computer systems were being attacked by some kind of virus that made their weapons fire at their own allies. The Molten Core Republic's plasma weapons were somehow being reflected back at them. The gas giant Federation's ships were losing pressure and venting atmosphere. Every alien race was discovering that the humans had found their specific weaknesses and designed weapons to exploit them. But the worst surprise was yet to come. Admiral Krathmar's sensor officer suddenly went very pale. "Sir, we have a problem, a big problem." "What now?" "Earth is moving." Admiral Krathmar looked at his main screen. The blue and white planet that had seemed so peaceful was now glowing with energy. Massive structures were rising from its surface. The oceans themselves seemed to be opening up like flowers. "Those are weapons," his tactical officer whispered. "The entire planet is covered in weapons." Earth's magnetic field began to shift and focus. Instead of protecting the planet from solar radiation, it became a directed electromagnetic pulse that swept across space like an invisible wall. Every alien ship it touched lost power as their electrical systems overloaded. But even that was not the worst part. The moon was opening. What the aliens had thought was Earth's natural satellite was revealed to be hollow. The surface split apart like an egg, revealing the largest weapon any of them had ever seen. A particle beam generator that could cut through battle fleets like scissors through paper. The beam fired once, just once. It swept across space in a straight line, cutting completely through 17 alien ships. They did not explode. They simply fell apart in perfectly straight cuts. Admiral Jun-Ho Lee's voice came across all communication channels. It was still calm, still polite. "This is your second warning. Leave our system now, or we will show you what human warfare really looks like." Admiral Krathmar looked around his bridge. Half his fleet was already destroyed or disabled. His perfect formation was scattered across space. His overwhelming advantage had become a disaster. For the first time in his long military career, he was afraid. "Sir," his communication officer said quietly, "what are your orders?" Admiral Krathmar stared at the tactical display. 3,000. Ships had become less than 2,000 in just 20 minutes. The humans had not even deployed their main fleet yet. "Retreat," he whispered. Then louder, "All ships, full retreat! Get us out of here!" The remains of the alien fleet turned and ran, leaving behind wreckage and the shattered pieces of their pride. The alien fleet tried to retreat, but escape was not going to be easy. As Admiral Krathmar ordered his ships to run, he discovered that leaving the Sol system was much harder than entering it had been. "Sir," his navigation officer reported, "we cannot jump to faster-than-light travel. Something is blocking our engines." "What do you mean blocking them?" "The space around us is wrong, sir. It is like someone changed the rules of physics. Our jump drives cannot find a way out of normal space." On Earth, President Da-Un Choi stood in the deep command bunker watching the battle unfold on massive screens. Around her, hundreds of technicians monitored systems that stretched across the entire solar system. This was not just a battle, it was a demonstration. "Dr. Nam," President Choi called to the chief scientist, "explain to me what we are doing to their engines." Dr. Woojin Nam pointed to a display showing energy patterns around the solar system. "We are using gravity generators placed throughout our space to create what we call a reality anchor. Space itself becomes thick, like trying to swim through honey instead of water. Their ships can move, but they cannot escape to hyperspace." "Long can we maintain it?" "As long as needed. The generators draw power from the sun itself. We have enough energy to keep this up for years." President Choi nodded. She touched a control on her chair, opening a communication channel that would reach every ship in the alien fleet. When she spoke, her voice was calm but carried absolute authority. "Attention, alien vessels. This is President Choi of Earth. You came to our system expecting to find a weak, young race that would surrender to your threats. Instead, you have found something else entirely." On the screens around her, she could see the alien ships trying desperately to escape. Some were firing their weapons at empty space, hoping to break whatever was trapping them. Others were spinning in circles, their navigation systems confused by the changed physics around them. You wondered how a species as young as humanity could stand against races that have traveled space for thousands of years. President Choi continued. "The answer is simple. We come from the most dangerous world any of you have ever seen." Admiral Siuses. Krathmar listened to the human president's words while his crew worked frantically to restore their jump engines. He was beginning to understand that everything the aliens thought they knew about humans was wrong. "Earth," President Choi explained, "is what we call a death world. Our planet has tried to kill us since the day our species learned to walk upright. Ice ages that lasted for thousands of years, volcanic explosions that blocked out the sun, diseases that killed half our population, predators with claws and teeth designed for hunting, weather that could destroy cities in minutes." The president walked to a window that looked out at the Earth's surface. From deep underground, she could see trees swaying in the wind, birds flying through clear skies. It looked peaceful, but she knew better. Most species evolve on worlds that support life, she said. We evolved on a world that tried to end it. Every day was a fight for survival. Every generation had to be stronger than the last, or they died. For millions of years, our planet shaped us into the ultimate survivors. On his ship, Admiral Krathmar was getting reports from across his fleet. The human attacks had stopped, but the damage was already done. More than 1,000 alien ships were destroyed or disabled. The survivors were trapped, unable to escape, forced to listen to the human president's speech. When we finally reached space, President Choi continued, we did not stop thinking like survivors. Every human colony was built to defend itself. Every space station was designed to fight. Every ship we built carried weapons, even the ones that looked like simple cargo vessels. She paused to let her words sink in. But most importantly, we never forgot that our home world was our greatest weapon. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, Admiral Jun-Ho Lee watched his command displays with satisfaction. The first phase of the demonstration was complete. The alien fleet was trapped and listening. Now it was time to show them what Earth could really do. Begin full revelation protocol, he ordered. Across the planet, systems that had been hidden for decades began to activate. The oceans themselves started to part, revealing massive structures beneath the waves. What looked like normal seafloor was actually the roofs of weapon installations bigger than cities. In the Sahara Desert, sand dunes shifted and moved aside. Beneath them lay launch bays for ships the aliens had never imagined. These vessels were not the small cruisers and destroyers the aliens had been fighting. These were true warships, each one capable of destroying an entire alien fleet by itself. The Amazon rainforest opened like a flower. Trees that had grown for hundreds of years were revealed to be camouflage covering weapon systems that could reach across star systems. What the aliens had thought was a primitive ecosystem was actually a carefully designed fortress. Even the polar ice caps began to split apart. Beneath the ice lay manufacturing facilities that had been building weapons and ships in secret for 50 years. The ice had kept them hidden from alien sensors, while geothermal vents provided unlimited power. Captain Min Seo Jung, still commanding the Indomitable, received new orders from Admiral Lee. Captain, take your ship to coordinates above the North Pacific. It is time to show them the ocean bases. The Indomitable appeared above a section of ocean that looked completely normal. Blue water, white clouds, nothing special. Captain Jung activated a special communication signal and the ocean began to change. The water started glowing with blue light. Massive structures rose from the depths, breaking the surface like metal islands. These were the ship construction, bays that had been building humanity's real fleet in secret. As they rose, they opened their doors. Ships emerged from the underwater bays. Not dozens of ships, not hundreds, thousands of ships, each one larger and more advanced than anything the aliens had seen in the battle so far. These vessels had been hidden beneath Earth's oceans, waiting for the day when humanity would need to reveal its true strength. Admiral Krathmar watched in growing horror as his sensor displays filled with new contacts. The 47 human ships that had fought his 3,000 had been just the beginning. The real human fleet was emerging from the planet itself, and it was massive. "How many ships are we detecting?" he asked his sensor officer. "Sir, I cannot get an accurate count. They keep appearing. Current estimate is over 5,000 vessels, and more are still emerging. But the ships, were not the most frightening part. As they emerged from their hidden bases, they began connecting to each other with energy beams. The beams formed a network that covered the entire solar system, turning every human vessel into part of a single massive weapon. President Choi's voice returned to the communication channels. You see, when you threaten Earth, you are not threatening just one planet. You are threatening a fortress that we have been building for our entire history as a spacefaring species. The moon completed its transformation. The entire satellite had been hollow, filled with weapons and manufacturing facilities. Now it began extending massive arms toward Earth, creating a connection between the planet and its satellite. The two bodies became a single weapon system capable of targeting any point in the galaxy. But even our hidden fleet and our planetary defenses are not our greatest weapon, President Choi said. Our greatest weapon is something you cannot see or measure. It is the fact that we never give up. We never surrender. We never stop fighting, no matter what the odds. Dr. Nam approached the president with a report. Madam President, all systems are online. Planet-wide defenses are at full power. The quantum lock on local space is holding steady. The alien fleet cannot escape. President Choi nodded. How many of their ships are still functional? Less than 800 out of their original 3,000. The rest are destroyed or disabled. And our casualties? 17 ships damaged, no ships lost, human casualties are 0. President Choi smiled grimly. She opened the communication channel one final time. Admiral Krathmar, this is your third and final warning. You have seen what happens when you underestimate humanity. You have seen what our primitive weapons can do to your advanced technology. Now you have a choice. On his bridge, Admiral Krathmar waited for the human ultimatum. Around him, his crew stared at their instruments in shock. The tactical displays showed a solar system that had been turned into the largest weapon ever created. You can surrender now, President Choi said. And we will allow your surviving ships to leave our space. You will return to your homeworlds and tell them what you have learned. You will explain to the Galactic Confederation that humanity is not a species that can be conquered or controlled. She paused, letting the weight of her words sink in. Or you can continue fighting, and we will demonstrate why Earth is called a death world. We will show you weapons that make everything you have seen so far look like toys. We will teach you why the most dangerous predator in the galaxy is not some alien monster with claws and teeth. Her voice became as cold as space itself. The most dangerous predator in the galaxy is a human who has been backed into a corner. Admiral Krathmar stared at his tactical display for a long moment. 800 ships remained from his once mighty fleet of 3,000. Around them, 5,000 human vessels waited in perfect formation. The Sol system itself had become a weapon pointed at his heart. He had two choices: surrender or die. Open a channel to the human president, he said quietly. His communication officer nodded. Channel open, sir. President Choi, Admiral Krathmar said, his voice heavy with defeat. The Vorthak Empire surrenders. We request permission to leave your system and return to our homeworld. Permission granted, came the immediate reply. Your ships may depart. But, Admiral, you will carry a message to the Galactic Confederation. Tell them that the old order is finished. Tell them that humanity offers a new way forward. As the alien fleet limped away from Sol, President Choi turned to her advisors in the command bunker. Dr. Nam, begin Phase 2 of the plan. It is time to change how the galaxy works. 6 months later, Ambassador Hyunwoo Kim returned to Nexus Prime. But this time he did not arrive in a small diplomatic shuttle. He came aboard the Seoul's Thunder, Admiral Lee's flagship, accompanied by a full human fleet. The Great Council Hall looked different now. Where once 12 alien races had sat in positions of power, now there were empty chairs. The crystalline hegemony had lost most of their ships and could barely defend their own worlds. The Hive Collective was rebuilding their bio-ships from scratch. The Ancient Ones were no longer so confident about their ancient wisdom. High Regent Thexara was not there at all. His own people had removed him from power after the disaster at Seoul. The new Vorthak leader, Regent Moltar, sat quietly at the table, no longer the proud conqueror he once was. The Galactic Confederation is dead, Ambassador Kim announced as he entered the hall. You killed it when you chose war over peace, but we are here to offer you something better. The alien leaders listened without interrupting. They had learned that humans were not a species to ignore. We call it the human concordate, Kim continued. It is not based on how old your species is or how long you have been in space. It is based on what you can contribute and how well you work with others. He activated a holographic display that showed a map of the galaxy. Human colonies were marked in blue, expanding rapidly into unexplored regions. Other species' territories were marked in different colors, but many were shrinking. The rules are simple, Kim explained. Species that join the Concordat get access to human technology and protection. We will share our quantum drive systems, our weapons technology, our planet-building techniques. In return, you contribute your own knowledge and resources to the common good. The Ethereal Dominion's representative spoke first. And what happens to species that refuse to join? Kim's expression did not change. Nothing happens to them. They are free to continue as they always have. But they will not receive concordant protection or technology. As humanity expands into new regions of the galaxy, they may find themselves left behind. The threat was polite but clear. Join the human alliance or be abandoned as humanity moved beyond them. Regent Moltar raised his hand to speak. What guarantees do we have that humans will not simply become the new masters? That this concordat will not become another form of slavery? Kim smiled. An excellent question. The answer is in the structure of the concordat itself. Humans do not rule it. We contribute to it, just like every other member species. Decisions are made by merit and contribution, not by species or age. He gestured to a woman who had entered the hall with him. This is Dr. So-Young Park, the first director of Concordat Defense. She was chosen not because she is human, but because she is the most qualified person for the job. Dr. Park stepped forward. The Concordat military is not a human military with alien troops. It is a combined force where every species contributes their strengths. Vorthak ships provide heavy assault capability. Crystalline vessels offer advanced shielding. Ethereal technology gives us superior sensors. Humans contribute quantum drives and strategic planning. She paused to let her words sink in. But more importantly, any species that proves itself in service can reach the highest ranks. Your species, your age, your history do not matter. Only your ability and your dedication to protecting concordant worlds. The alien leaders murmured among themselves. This was not what they had expected. They had assumed humans would simply become new masters, replacing the old Confederation hierarchy with their own. The Ancient One spoke with its grinding voice. We have ruled the galaxy for 10 million years. We have knowledge that your young species cannot comprehend. Why should we accept a junior position in this new order?" Dr. Park's response was respectful but firm. "Because knowledge without application is useless. You have ruled for 10 million years, but what have you accomplished? The galaxy has stagnated. No new technologies, no expansion into unknown regions, no growth or improvement." She gestured to the star map again. "In the 6 months since the Sol incident, humans have established 12 new colonies, developed 3 new technologies, and opened trade routes to regions that were previously unexplored. We do not rule through age or tradition. We lead through results." One by one, the alien species began to ask about joining the Concordat. The terms were generous but clear. Members gained access to human technology and protection, but they also had to contribute their own resources and knowledge. Lazy species that wanted to coast on past achievements would not be welcome. The Gas Giant Federation asked about mining rights in human space. Kim agreed, but only if they shared their atmospheric processing technology with other Concordat members. The Molten Core Republic wanted access to human quantum drives for their trading fleets. Dr. Park agreed, but required them to provide advanced metallurgy knowledge to Concordat shipyards. Each agreement was fair, but demanding. The humans were not offering charity. They were building a partnership where everyone contributed and everyone benefited. As the day progressed, 11 of the 12 alien species requested membership in the human Concordat. Only the ancient ones refused, claiming that their dignity would not allow them to accept junior status. "That is your choice," Ambassador Kim said politely. "The offer will remain open if you change your minds." 3 months later, High Regent Thexera arrived at Earth in a simple transport ship. The proud warrior who had once demanded human surrender now came as a beggar, requesting an audience with President Choi. They met in the same bunker where the president had directed Earth's defense. Thexera looked older and smaller than before. The defeat at Sul had broken something in him, but it had also taught him humility. "I have come to request Vorthak membership in the human Concordat," he said simply. President Choi studied the alien who had once threatened to destroy her world. "I thought you were removed from power." "I was. But my people have made mistakes. Regent Moltar is too proud to admit we need help. Our economy is failing. Our military is weak. Pirates attack our trade routes because they know we cannot defend them." Thexera looked directly at the human president. "I have no official authority. I come here as a private citizen, asking for help for my people. And what are you offering in return?" "Everything we have. Our remaining ships will join Concordat. Defense forces. Our industrial worlds will contribute to Concordat production. Our warriors will serve under human command if necessary." He paused. "We were once proud conquerors. Pride brought us to ruin. Perhaps serving a greater cause will teach us to be something better." President Choi was quiet for a long moment. Then she smiled. "The Concordat does not require you to abandon your pride, Thexera. It requires you to direct it toward something worthy. Help us explore new worlds. Help us defend innocent species. Help us build something better than the old Confederation. You would accept our membership even after what we tried to do? The Concordat judges species by what they can become, not by what they have been. If the Vorthak people truly wish to change, we will help them do it." 1 year after the Battle of Seoul, Captain Min Seo Jung stood on the bridge of her new ship. The Indomitable had been retired, replaced by the Pathfinder, a vessel designed for deep space exploration. Her crew included humans, reformed Vorthak, warriors, crystalline engineers, and even a few ancient ones who had finally swallowed their pride and joined the Concordate. "Captain," her navigation officer reported, "we are approaching the edge of known space. No species has ever traveled this far." Captain Young looked at the stars ahead. Somewhere out there were new worlds, new species, new challenges. The galaxy was vast, and humanity was just beginning to explore it. "Set course for the unknown," she ordered. "Let us see what the universe has to show us." Behind them, the Concordate continued to grow. Species that had once been enemies now worked together, sharing knowledge and resources. The old Confederation's rigid hierarchy was being replaced by something new, a partnership based on merit, contribution, and the simple idea that everyone deserved a chance to prove themselves. The galaxy had learned an important lesson. Humans did not just adapt to their environment, they improved it. They did not just survive challenges. They turned challenges into opportunities, and now, as they headed toward the stars, they carried that lesson with them. Whatever the universe threw at them next, they would face it together.